Hello everyone, Chef Paparika and welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be making the most amazing sausage rolls. It's quite a bit of a process. As you remember, last week I showed you guys how to make some delicious puff pastry. So with that puff pastry, today we're going to be making some amazing sausage rolls, and they'll be whipped up in less than 30 minutes. So let's get started. We're going to start by separating our sausages from the sausage skin that wraps these around. So you just want to take individually each single sausage. Here I'm using about 8 sausages for this recipe, and then from the top you want to open up that skin tip and then gently peel it off as carefully and as gently as you can, and just gonna repeat the process for all of the sausages. Just gonna make sure you can make a really nice and even and smooth sausage roll filling. So once you have that ready and all your sausages are ready to be added all the rest of the ingredients, we can get started. So start by adding in some finely chopped onions and some Dania, along with some freshly crushed garlic, and then we can move on to the next step. Now for seasonings, we're gonna start by adding in some salt, some black pepper, some paprika, some thyme, and some cayenne pepper, just for a little bit of a kick, which is optional but highly recommended, especially for this recipe. Once you have all of those ingredients added into your sausages, you want to give it a really good mix. And since the skins have been removed from these sausages, you just need to gently mush them together with a fork or a spoon, just until everything is fully combined and evenly mixed together. Once you have that once you have that mixed and ready to go, set your bowl aside, and then you can now wrap it up in cling film. So take a large sheet of cling film and place it onto your work surface, and then you want to gently pop over your sausage roll mixture. We just need to be able to create a long sausage out of a sausage. How ironic, but we just need to make sure it's a nice long log which you can slide inside a piping bag. So you just want to take it and then dump your sausage roll mixture, and then fold it on both ends, and then twist it and twist it and twist it, just until you have a nice tight long roll or log. This is gonna make sure it's easier for us to pipe it into the piping bag. And if you don't happen to have a piping bag, I can suggest you do this by hand. You just take your sausage roll mixture with your fingers or with a spoon and just gently place it onto the puff pastry, and trust me, it'll work just as well. But for this, just need to make sure this ensures an nice and even log, or nice and even, or the same amount of sausage roll or sausage meat throughout, which gives us a nice sort of even measure of the sausage rolls. So once you have that ready to go, place it into the fridge while we work on our pastry. So here I have some delicious puff pastry, in which the recipe I shared last week, you guys remember. I'll leave a link for the recipe down in the description box below if you'd like to go check it out. But if you don't, you can buy it at the supermarket. I saw one at Carrefour. I think you just need to buy like 2 packs of those and you're ready to go. But this is homemade and even better. So just want to take your pastry and divide it into 2 if you're using homemade. But for most store-bought puff pastry, they come out fully rolled and ready to go, so you don't have to make your own. So just take those out and then proceed with the rest. So for those who are using homemade puff pastry, just gently start to tap it down and roll it out, tap and roll, tap and roll, tap and roll, just until you have a nice and even round rectangle. It has a lot of rough edges, so just gonna quickly chop those off for a nice evenness, and then those extra pieces you can easily pop them into the oven and they make a nice snack. Mix them with some cinnamon sugar or some ganache or whatever you like, and they're really great chef snack, and no one's gonna know. Really, it's your treat. I mean, imagine going through all this work to make this, and you need a treat anyways. So once you have them nice and evenly rolled out and trimmed the edges, you want to take a ruler and divide it at the halfway point, and then cut through so you can have 2 even long pieces of puff pastry. Once you have that ready, just want to take your sausage roll, cling film roll, and then you want to snip the tip off first and then place it into the piping bag, and then snip the tip off the piping bag, and you want to gently start to pipe this onto the edge of pastry. And you want to do this as evenly as possible. I highly suggest you section out the sausage roll meat with your hand and kind of like squeeze from one point, so that you don't have a lot of it coming out from the top. So on the other edge of the puff paste, you just want to gently brush over some egg wash, and then you want to fold it over until they meet. You want to make sure that part where the meat is not too thick, so snip off the excess if you have any, and then gently crimp it with a fork just to give it a cool design, and also to flatten out that area where it's almost double thickness. We don't want something gummy that tastes funny. So to help with cutting, just once you're done, place them onto a plate and place them in the freezer for like half an hour, 10 minutes, just until they're frozen solid. This is gonna make it easier for you to chop up your sausage rolls. So just once they're out and nice and frozen and cold and easier to work with, just want to take them and then brush them with some egg wash and sprinkle over some sesame seeds. Sesame seeds are optional but highly recommended. They give it a nice flavor and additive, and also make them look really good. So once you're done, that prep is done, you just want to take a ruler. These are about 12 inches in length, so you want to divide them at the 4-inch point so you can have 3 even looking sausage rolls out of each log. If you don't want to measure, you can just go by eye, and if you want them smaller or bigger, choice is up to you. You can just decide to divide them into 2, or divide them into 4, 5, 6, or for those who like them to be really tiny, that's okay, and you can make them in any size that you'd like, but depending on how big or small they are, the baking time may vary. So once you have them nice and chopped up, when I place them onto a baking sheet, personally this whole recipe gives you just, one log gives you 3, so 3 times the 4 logs that you have gives you 12, and I baked 6 so that you can have nice and even spreading out in between each bake. So once you're all done with those, we're gonna pop them into the oven and let them bake at around 200 degrees for about 18 to 20 minutes. And here's the quick time lapse of them rising. They look amazing. As you can see, it's extending and puffing and puffing and puffing. So I highly suggest, it's a step that I missed, you poke the top so that you don't have the excess air coming out from the side and it just coming out look like it wants to eat you. So make sure you poke the top just for better results and a more good looking results. So thank you guys so much for watching. Tag me on Instagram if you try this recipe. I'd love to see your creations.